Hello out there. This is Doctor BMS, and I would like to talk to you again about some of the things that affect your life. I would like to provoke you to think about some things that will better your health from the body, mind, and soul. This morning, I woke up and I was watching a bit of television before I came to the office, and I went to a sports channel which was showing sport mountain skiing. And as I watched, I asked myself a few questions and they made me come to the story I'd like to discuss with you today. For those who are not familiar with mountain skiing or ice skating, the picture here can help you understand that the sports people usually slide on ice, usually in the temperate countries where there's snow, there's ice, and they slide down a slippery slope and compete in that way. And I asked myself, why do they hold these two sticks? So I went Googling and finding out, and I found they're called ski poles. And they are used to help these people, the sports people, to balance better, to move with more accuracy, to control their slide. And it made me wonder, if someone wants to slide, why do you want to control your slide? You may as well just slide. And as I thought about it, I started relating to my work in the rehabilitation center, Fountain of Hope Rehabilitation Center, and the patients we receive sometimes coming for our services. And it occurred to me that some of the patients who come to us for rehabilitation because they are addicted to drugs, to alcohol, are actually people who are sliding without a control. So they are skiing, but they don't have ski poles. And I said, well, this is quite philosophical. Let me discuss it and see how people will react to this. So I came up with a topic, a heading, speed without traction. That people who are into abusing drugs of addiction, into abusing alcohol and sinking into addiction are actually people who generally follow the philosophy of speeding but without traction. They are like skiers without skiing poles. And I would like to discuss this with you and invite you to reflect, to introspect about your personal life or people who are dear to you. And my message today is mainly aimed at young people. I have seen in schools, higher institutions of learning, at the university where I used to teach, for example, we have young people coming in, freshmen and women, and you see that within a short time of coming to college, some of them are getting into a hurry to do some things which they consider to be fun things, to be good things, to make them stand out. And in this speed, they sometimes forget to get the balance. And so I categorize them as people who are moving with speed but no traction. just like a vehicle moving on the road, and it's a slippery road. So if it's moving fast, but it is sliding, the tires are not gripping the road well, it lacks traction. And almost always this vehicle will end in a ditch. It will roll. And this is what happens to some of these young people I've observed, like in institutions of higher learning, where they come and they want very quickly to be champions, to be stars. So a young person comes from home and joins university or college, and within a short time, they want to have the most expensive clothes, they want to have the most high tech phone, they want to go to all the nice parties, and they want to be stars on social media. They create Facebook, Instagram pages, and they are constantly posting messages, images that show that they are really on the rise. And sometimes this is done at a cost, and the cost is that these people are straining, these students are straining, these students are foregoing some important things, sometimes money made for meals, for upkeep is diverted into these leisure activities. Sometimes they miss classes, they miss on assignments, and soon they find themselves moving out of the ordinary orbit of a student and going into things that were really never intended for them when they joined the university or the college. And usually, one of the things that almost always joins in is drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and this mentality of wanting to achieve everything now and here, taking shortcuts. When you mix in alcohol and drugs, then it becomes a potent mixture that sometimes can have disastrous consequences. Remember, in an earlier video, I talked about characteristics of humans which are unique, and I mentioned hedonism, seeking pleasure. Humans want to be happy all the time, to be liked, to be stars. I also talked about imagination. Humans have this ability to imagine, to see things that are not there, and this is what has made them to invent, to create things that were never there. And I also mentioned humans can communicate at a much higher level than other creatures. And so when you have this mentality of being in a hurry, wanting to achieve fame, greatness now and here, and in the modern world which glorifies success sometimes without inquiring, checking how the success is gained, and you are using drugs of addiction, then this mixture fuels the human characteristics of hedonism, imagination, and communication to a negative side where you now seek pleasure for its own sake and you imagine yourself as being so happy and being so successful, being so famous, and you seek to communicate this and receive communication that affirms this. And social media comes in to complete this picture. Then you are a person who is moving very fast. You are speeding, but with no traction, with very little traction, and you are likely to end into a ditch. This behavior sometimes goes beyond just colleges. We've seen even young people when they have finished college and they have gotten an employment and the first job, they now live in their own house. they have taken a loan and bought their first car, and you find these persons are overexcited. It's one life is one big party, and they want it all. They want to live in the most posh estate, to drive the best car, to pimp up this car and make it as glamorous as possible. For the ladies, for the females, they would like to dress up and have accessories that are high class. And generally, this person then is looking at the fun side of life all the time. And sometimes they are so immersed into it, they start taking shortcuts. They start doing things that they should not do. They may engage in crime, corruption. They may start associating with company that is not good. And all these, usually alcohol and drugs, come into the mix to fuel this picture. And the end result then is that this is a person who is moving very fast, but with very little balance. And that happy state is based on a very shaky foundation, and it's just a matter of time before something unexpected happens to them, unexpected to them, but someone observing can see it was going to happen. And when this happens to them, they crash and their life tumbles. And as they pick up their pieces, if they are still alive, and think about it, then they see that I actually was moving with speed, but without traction. I would like to challenge all my viewers, young and old, but particularly young people, that life does not end today. The world is not ending today. If you are alive and well, you will achieve a lot more things if you move systematically, purposefully, and you build a base for yourself than when you are rushing to have it all at once. Because when you do that, then you are a candidate for behaviors that will take you down, like abusing drugs because you have a hedonistic mentality, engaging in other antisocial activities because you imagine yourself to be this person who should be there, perhaps very clever, who cannot get caught, and you get into schemes that are criminal and antisocial, and sometimes they lead you astray. Look at yourself as a young person and see that God has blessed you with a life and health, and you have the whole future ahead of you. Move ordinary speed, even if it's a bit of a slow speed, but the important thing is that move with traction, because when you move with traction, every mile you cover counts and goes into your bank of investment, into your foundation, and it can never be removed. But if you move in a haste because you want everything now and here as if the world is ending today, you are going to cover speed which is a false speed, and you will end up derailing in your path and crashing. Thank you for listening, and see you again in another video of Dr. BMS. Remember to subscribe to our channel Dr. BMS and like our videos so that we can continue challenging each other to be better persons and live a life of real happiness and responsibility. Bye bye.